I think that's such a good point, because I think that for any ballet program, it doesn't matter if it's at the highest level. And when I say highest level, you know, New York City Ballet.
Right. Big budget.
Big budget to your community ballet programs. Budget is always, it's always an issue. And so I think it's so important what you're saying, because getting a projector, or even at some point an LED screen, it's not non-trivial.
Right.
It's an investment.
Right.
But I think it really is that. It's an investment. Mm-hmm. So you invest in that, and you spend, and I mean, for a good projector, I mean, it really could, let's just say, it could be $3,500, it could be $5,000. If you want to get upwards into 10,000 lumen, you're going to deal with more. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it this way, you're going to use that show after show after show. You can reinvent the Nutcracker every year. Mm-hmm. You can keep it the same and use the imagery that you have, or you can keep adding to that and just expand on it in terms of imagination. But then you also can use it for your Swan Lake. You can also use it for Don Quixote. You can also use it for these other shows that you're doing. And you're going to get the same beauty and spectacle and color in those shows, which draws more people. Right. And so that projector begins to pay itself off pretty quickly. As, I mean, especially if you're thinking about doing anything in terms of, you know, renting actual backdrops, or let's just say it, I mean, time is money too. If you've got somebody, whether it's an artistic parent, or if you're trying to have students do this, but to actually physically paint a backdrop, I mean, it can take upwards 20, 30 hours, and that's just for one, and to be able to hang it. So to have this other opportunity to be able to get a hold of images where you can have an entire suite of images for one show. Right. Maybe you're not limited to just having 2 scenes in the Nutcracker where you've got the parlor and you've got one thing for the Land of Sweets. What if you can have the Land of Sweets in 5 different colors? Right. Which we do. We have that, to put a little plug in. Right. In 5 different colors, and
season changes,
seeing
day and
seeing
night
them
scenes.
change, the time of day change, seeing whether it's snowing or whether it's not snowing change, seeing the river that, you know, is partially frozen but in parts is not, and the ripples of the waves, you know, across that. You're just introducing something fun and interesting that your audience is going to latch onto. I mean, we talked about that before, how audiences are much more savvy now, and they're much more used to seeing visual effects and color and imagination and worlds at a whole other level. And, you know, the projector, honestly, is really one of your biggest upfront investments. But outside of that, you can project these on a on a cyclorama. You can use a laptop with some pretty basic software. And then what you're doing every show is you're literally just refreshing the artwork. You're just getting artwork that suits that. So you're making that initial investment up front, but then the return on that. And we're not trying to sell projectors, it's just the idea. And I think sometimes that's the idea, right? It's just making that leap or making that jump from having done it one way for all these years, which is totally valid. And there will always be really wonderful ballet shows that do things in a very classical way. But for a lot of schools, for a lot of dance programs, this is pretty exciting because it opens things up for them to be able to reimagine them or do them in a way that nobody thought. And when you can surprise your audience that way, I mean, when we've done some of the things for Nutcracker, for example, with the Savannah Ballet, the audiences respond to that. And they start to get excited a little bit more every year about your program because they're starting to not know what they're going to expect.